There is a famous joke from The Simpsons in which the bartender, Moe, having redecorated his establishment to cater to a younger, artier clientele of urban hipsters, tries to describe his new avant-garde decor to his former regulars. "It's po-mo," he says, and when this garners no response, he clarifies, "Postmodern." Getting a similar set of blank looks, he defeatedly mumbles, "Weird for the sake of weird." Whether or not this is an accurate description of this broad, mid-century movement is debatable, but if the descriptor "weird for the sake of weird" perfectly encapsulates anything, it's the work of French New Wave filmmaker Jean-Luc Godard. Bursting onto the international scene with his instant classic Breathless in 1960, he wasted no time in immediately making a lifetime's work of incredible films in a scant half-decade, including his 1965 color-filled noir, Pierrot le Fou. Godard was madly challenging as a figure. Every movie, every sequence, every shot even, seemed like a test for his imagination, as well as his willingness to annoy an audience. Despite this, he was, and is, quite beloved. He proved that you can go as far out there as you want and still manage to achieve a status of film mastery and widespread acclaim. This alone should give him a chance at a spot on anyone's short list of the world's greatest directors. Welcome to Kale Your Idols, a new Hollywood podcast with your hosts Elena Gibson and Sam Ludwig.
I want to first share a Godard quote.
Lovely.
I'm going to be probably sharing a lot of Godard quotes.
He's a man who likes a good quote himself.
He loves a good quote. We'll talk about that.
We will quote his quotes of quotes.
We will. But anyways, Godard's quote. You say, let's talk about Pierrot. I say, what is there to say about it?
What is there to say about it? But why would you want to talk about this film?
I don't think he sounds like that.
I think he does. I'm pretty sure I'm doing a perfect impression.
I actually don't know if I've ever heard him speak.
Yeah, I think he probably talks like this. He's probably an incredibly monotone kind of talker.
I should try. We should see if he's recorded
he's
anywhere.
Really funny and expressive.
Because like Herzog, like that's a director who like that voice is ingrained in my brain.
Yeah, he's a person. He's like one of those like, you know, high school principals or somebody that everybody can do an impression of instantly.
Yeah.
I feel like you need a certain amount of persona to be a director, but it can be either a vocal persona or a visual persona. Godard's got the visual persona. You can either manifest like visually or audibly. This is a theory I make. Godard has a hardcore visual look.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
he's got an all-time...
sunglasses, bald. He's got that whole thing.
It's all time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, he's fucking cool.
Do you feel that this movie came out the way that Godard wanted it to come out, first of all?
I have a quote about that. Okay, so actually this isn't about Pierrot le Fou, it's about Breathless, or the original title is About du Souffle. I don't speak French, so yeah, sorry I'm butchering all of these. But he said, although I felt ashamed of it at one time, I do like About du Souffle very much. But now I see where it belongs, along with Alice in Wonderland. I thought it was Scarface.
Yeah.
So
not the De Palma Scarface. So basically what that's saying is it's like a froofy, fantastical thing rather than a hardcore, hardened crime movie?
Yeah, like saying? I think for Breathless and possibly also Pierrot le Fou.
You thought he was making The Chronic, but it was actually just The Millennium. Or whatever.
Okay, with your hip-hop reference. The French New Wave directors genuinely loved American crime film. And he was trying to go for that, I think.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So we've put a couple things on the table here. It's really... This is appropriate because, you know, where does this begin and where does it end? Where does what is the French New Wave? You are inside of it already, you know? So this movie is loosely based on a novel called Obsession that is really more about an older man who runs off with an actual teenage babysitter, right? And Godard had these quotes about it where he's like, oh yes, I'm interested in doing this film. It'll be about, you know, obsession, like the book is obsession with this older man obsessed with this young girl and stuff. And he's like, I need a real old guy if I want to do it with Anna Karina, my wife. You know, if I get a younger guy, then I need a much younger woman because I don't want them to be too normal of a couple.
And then ultimately it just became like all of the other actors that he wanted dropped out, except for Anna Karina, who was his wife. And so then he's like, and I'll get Jean-Paul Belmondo to do it to get financing. So now they just look like this totally normal couple. And it becomes a completely different film that has nothing to do with what the content of the original book is about.
That is so interesting. Yeah. I had no idea, actually.
It's very Kubrickian in that he's like, I'm making this story, but it has nothing to do with the novel. Like, it's completely different set of themes that are speaking to him. And all of the stuff about, the idea of Ferdinand being a writer and just all of the interpersonal conflicts, the Vietnam War, all of that stuff is just completely invented by Godard. Probably on the day of, as Pauline Kael talks about in her essay.
Yeah.
Just something he thought of, like, the day he was shooting, like, to put into this movie.
A lot of people assume that this movie is very improvised because if you watch it, you're like, how could any of this been in a script? But he says that he does improvise to a certain degree, but it usually is that he's got a pile of notes for each scene, and then the day of, he decides what he wants to do within that day and tells the actors. And he gives the actors dialogue, but he only gives them the dialogue the day of because he doesn't want them to sound too practiced when they actually deliver.
He doesn't like to do a lot of takes either.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah, so maybe I should first talk about why I saw this movie. I knew this guy, and he gave me a list of film recommendations, and this was on it. So this was probably like the second film I've watched, when I first began my awakening to like cool cinema. Like, I've watched plenty of movies before, but there was like a very specific period of my life where I suddenly started watching.
Let me tell you, you put this movie on at a party, people think you're cool as hell.
No, this was like me in my room alone, like late at night. There was no social aspect.
I think you mean uncool cinema. No, but this movie is cool. I don't mean to say that this movie is very, very cool.
The characters in it are trying to be cool and are cool and, I mean, annoyingly cool.
Yes.
And they get annoyed at each other for being so cool.
Yes.
Anyways, I watched this movie. It blew my mind. Like, all like the Brechtian distancing techniques that Godard uses. So I guess I should define that for anybody who's unfamiliar.
You were sick of being made to suspend your disbelief and identify with characters and feel like you're inside of a movie. You needed to get shaken up out of that.
I just had no idea about what movies could do. Like, I really had never seen a movie experiment, or if I had seen a movie experiment, I hadn't noticed it really or appreciated it. But this movie, it just does everything.
Just try and not notice that this movie's experimenting. Just try and not pick up on that.
It just throws everything at the wall. Like, it starts music in the middle of scenes and then cuts it. They'll jump a scene right in the middle of somebody's sentence. There's like dead people randomly that they're not commenting on. The colors are crazy and wacky. They'll have a character say the same two lines back to back and not explain it. Like, yeah.
Characters will sit in a bush and monologue at the camera about socialism, like, apropos of nothing.
Yeah, I could imagine a lot of people would hate this film.
So, right. Okay, let's be real. This movie, I would say, is actually quite pretentious.
Yeah.
Like, this movie, and not even really in the way where it's like, he really is pulling it off. Like, at the same time, he is. Like, I don't mean to say he's not pulling off the movie. You don't feel like you're watching something that's coming from a person's soul. Which is strange, because it is a very personal movie, I think.
It's so weird, because there is a part in the movie when real-life director Sam Fuller, American director, makes a cameo.
We gotta talk about this part. Yeah, 'cause what's going on in this part? Sorry, yeah.
So, the two characters... Oh my god, we haven't explained anything.
This is the first thing that happens in the movie. After, this guy reads a thing about Velasquez in the bathtub to a little kid. His wife says, "You're crazy," and then we're going to a party. And they go to the party, and there's a bunch of people talking advertising slogans.
Yeah, this is a married couple going to this upscale party. This dude's like an intellectual. Yeah. They go...
Every room in the party has is a different color.
Yeah, like
there's
different
some
lighting. Topless
women there.
Yeah,
and it's this advertising party, so it is very self-consciously.
You think it was supposed to be an advertising party?
Yes, I believe so. Like they're all.
I thought they were just saying advertisements just as a commentary on how consumerism has just totally invaded our culture that's all we can talk about with one another.
Yeah. It's weird because it's difficult to know in this movie like how much you're supposed to be taking as logic. Do you think this movie's meant to make you feel anything?
Right. So I bring up this Sam Fuller cameo. Yeah. He's an American film director, yes. And there's talking about film.
So he's at this party.
Yeah. He's just Sam Fuller's there attending the party, and this woman's translating because he speaks English, and Ferdinand, the main character, speaks French. And when he hears that he's a director, he's like, interesting. And Sam Fuller, he says a thing. He says, a film is like a battleground. It has love, hate, action, violence, and death. In one word, emotion.
Right.
And so I've heard a lot of people say, like, okay, so yeah, that basically is just telling you what the movie's about. Like, this is what movies are. We are going to give all of that to you. And then it gives that to you. Yeah. But I would argue that it gives you love, hate, action, violence, and death, but does not ever succeed in giving you emotion. And what I can't tell is if he tried to give emotion or not.
Right. Or if that's a commentary on what American movies are like versus...
But Godard genuinely loves American movies.
I know. Of course I know. But I'm saying, like, this past time that we watched it, I was thinking about this. I was like, is he talking about something specifically, like, again, not even saying this is stupid in American movies, but like this is a thing in American movies that maybe I can't even do. There was something there about the fact that it was an American filmmaker. Of course, it is possible. Okay, and hopefully this will tie us back to the larger initial table setting conversation we need to do here. But it could just be a cool signifier that American movies to these figures like Godard in France in the early 60s, those were the people doing interesting things.
I think it brings up this huge question of, is this movie doing pastiche or is it doing parody? So like pastiche, the idea where you're just sampling stuff, you're just like grabbing things from other works and putting them in your thing to like...
Or you're trying to recreate it faithfully. Like you're trying to do the thing, but so much so that a person kind of couldn't tell the difference between, the real thing and what you're doing.
Yeah. So is it that kind of thing?
Right.
Or is it
commenting on it?
Commenting and parody. I think he went for pastiche and was okay with the fact that it ends up being more like a commentary. That's kind of my thing on Godard is like, he realizes what the effect will be if he goes for pastiche and he's okay with that.
There was some article that I read that was seeming to argue that he was essentially like he agreed to do this movie. Okay, Godard makes, what is it, like 12 movies in a 4-year period?
Between 1960 and 1967, he made 15 feature films.
Yeah, which is...
That's a lot.
Insane, right? Like that's too many movies.
Yeah, probably
honestly,
a lot of them weren't good.
We've seen a lot of I think there's a couple that I would shave out of there.
I haven't seen 15 Godard movies.
No, I haven't seen 15 Godard movies, but I think that, I think he could have not made Band of Outsiders.
Do you think
personally, and just like we would have been fine.
But then we wouldn't have had that dance scene.
Yeah, the dance scene's great. The running through the thing is just fun. Yeah. But
do you think he should have spent more time on his movies?
Right. So that's what I'm getting at. So I think there was this thing where he wanted to adapt this book, right? He'd had this idea for a while. And by the time he got this movie, apparently he was like, I don't give a fuck about film noir. Like, I have no interest in film noir at this point. And so then, like, this movie is him, like, ginning up all of this other stuff, this consumerism critique, this imperialism critique, stuff about, human relationships and stuff like that, that is to him, it's almost like I need to keep myself interested in this story in some way. Because I have no interest in the basic tropes of this gangster idea that I'm commenting on. This is something that I read.
I cannot believe that he was not interested in film noir. He loves...
No, but like by the point that he got, like he agreed, he wanted to do this movie. Okay. And then a couple years pass and he makes like several movies that are kind of film noir. He was already like completely...
like over it by that point.
Yeah, and just like not connected to it.
I don't think it's unique to this movie.
No, that's probably true of a lot of his work.
Feel like, like he clearly didn't put that much time into it.
Wasn't a big editor of himself. Like clearly probably would just shoot it out and then like see how it looks in 5 years.
Yeah. Pauline Kael, she wrote this very famous essay about young American filmmakers who she refers to as movie brutalists, but she talks about New Wave a lot and Godard. And she says that maybe he is attempting to escape from freedom when he makes a beautiful work and then, to all appearances, just throws it away. There is a self-destructive urgency in his treatment of themes, a drive toward a quick finish. Even if it's suicidal for the hero or the work, Godard is impatient for the ending. The mood of his films is that there's no way for things to work out anyway. Something must be done even if it's disastrous. No action is intolerable. And that does feel like how his films are. Like, he seems like he doesn't have enough patience with himself to put more into it. And maybe it's a self-conscious thing where you try... But then, like, at the last minute, you're like, I don't want to try too hard because it'll be, like, embarrassing if I fail.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Godard, I think, such an appealing filmmaker to a certain kind of person is, like, Godard reminds me of, like, the artist that I am in my own mind. Godard's films feel like the idea you have for a movie when you initially have this flash of inspiration and like you're like, I want to have this and have this and have this and all this stuff, and in reality it's like it doesn't actually cohere and it's not really satisfying and stuff. And most people, as they're making that thing, would feel like this isn't really coming together, or like they would feel all of the problems with it and all of the disparate influences, you know, chafing against each other. And Godard just doesn't seem to feel that way.
He leans into it, and I think that redounds to his own benefit. And his movies come out looking like the kind of movie that anybody who wants to think of themselves as an artist wishes they could make. Yeah.
You know? He might be like the ultimate like idea of an artist from the perspective of an actual non-artist.
Yeah.
Which is true because he comes from the criticism
definitely
world, as we go. Yeah.
I would think his work, and then I would think like the shot from Persona of those two actresses, like one of them looking forward and one of them looking at the other one's face. Like
exactly.
That's what people think of as like art house film, and they're not wrong.
Yeah. Bergman,
he's not slapdash.
He's not slapdash, and like he has characters that have long monologues about existentialism that feel cinematic and truthful and real and deep and not boring.
Yeah.
Whereas Godard can't ever do that. Like, he's never had a character have a long monologue that wasn't like, okay. Like, when you're, you know, like...
No, totally. Like, Bergman, it's like when they're having their monologues, you are having an emotional reaction.
He's a great writer.
Caught up in it. Yeah, you know where you don't know where the character's going, and you don't know exactly where they came from, but you know in that moment what they're feeling when they're saying these things to you.
Yeah. No, and like Colin Kael's thing, he's clearly just putting shit in a movie that he just read in a book that he happens to be reading that has nothing to do with the movie that he's making right now. Like, it's like he's reading a book that day and he's like, oh, this quote's so good. And he like just puts it in the movie. That's something I would do in my wildest, most horrifying dreams. That's kind of how art is in my brain and why it rarely ever comes out in a fully formed way, I think.
Yeah. In terms of his monologues being totally inaccessible to other people, though, I just wanted to like say, so I watched this movie a number of times, first of all,
but I know where you're going with this.
And so normally I watch it at 1x speed.
As most humans watch most movies.
Right. But we originally were going to record this podcast earlier, so we'd already watched this movie pretty recently together, and then like scheduling got in the way. And so we pushed it off for about a month and decided we should probably rewatch it before recording.
Yes.
And it definitely needed to watch it again. But so we didn't want to have to sit through an hour and 50 minutes of watching it again so soon after just seeing it. So we watched it at 2x speed, which is something that Sam has done a lot. He even used to watch movies 4x speed. He'd watch like 4 different movies on his screen at the same time.
Different levels of intellectual investment required for the movies.
Now you explain what you mean by that.
Well, like I would watch like a silent movie, which is great for 2x or 3x speed because you're just watching their motion and then there'll be a text screen that comes up. It's the exact same experience basically, except quicker. Musicals you can't do this with because it ruins music.
I think that
is what 2x
there
speed
is
really
certainly an argument that it ruins
all movies,
a lot of things in a movie, like
no, you're right.
Atmosphere, things like that.
But I'm saying I would do like a silent movie and like Captain America and like catch up on the Marvel movies in the
ones
one
you didn't
corner
care
in the
about.
one corner of my.
But you
screen.
certainly watch a lot of like
extremely
art films at 2x speed, and then I think
it's great for foreign movies in general because you can read them. You know, you're not listening.
Yeah, it's easier to read subtitles going by fast than to comprehend speech. Unless what you're trying to read is a dense French biography of Velasquez or whatever his name is. At 1x speed, I've watched this movie so many times, and it opens with him reading out loud from this book, and he just says these words, and I'm just not taking it in. It's like that time when you're in college and you know you got to last minute read a thing for a class coming up, and you're like reading some really dense piece of work and none of it's getting into your brain. Every time I listen to Ferdinand reading that book from the bathtub, I get none of it. Like, none of it gets inside my brain.
But that is what the monologue's about, if you actually pay attention to it. And this gets referenced several times in the movie, which is Velasquez, as he got later in life, he didn't want to paint these cohesive ideas. You know what I mean?
Well, he did a great job of not depicting a coherent thing.
No, I know. That's the thing. But at the same time, though, I think the movie comes together in a somewhat more formal way. It's a little bit less anarchic. Maybe I've just seen it so many times.
It took me a long time, like many rewatches, to get the plot. And it wasn't right. And part of me was like, I know that's not the most important part of the movie. It's a classic film noir. You've got the guy, he's got the married life, he becomes tempted by the young femme fatale. He gives up his family life, goes with this young chick. He's doing it for love. He thinks she's doing it for love too, but turns out she's got this plan. And it's some weird convoluted plan involving her brother, who's actually her lover, being a gun runner. And they're trying to use Ferdinand and like pin some murders on him and stuff. Yeah. So it's just like her using him because she's got this other crime love story going on with some other guy.
But in the movie, it really seems like that's not her plan from the beginning. That she is just going with the flow, and that at a certain point, she's kind of like, no, this dude sucks. I'm going to betray him. But then you can't tell. Was it her plan the whole time?
I think it kind of was her plan the whole time. Like, she mentions Fred early on, and...
Right. No, I know.
So I think it was kind of her plan. But I think that she is this character who, like most femme fatales, does kind of like the guy, and is kind of... She just, like, likes to live life. Like, she always talks about wanting to live.
The movie wants us to think that he has genuinely disappointed her in some way, I think.
Yes.
I think the movie wants us to be invested in her wanting something about this relationship to work.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite lines from the movie is when she says, "You talk to me with words, and I look at you with feelings."
Is that just some
is that a quote
sexist shit?
I mean...
Like, Godard women, you know.
Yeah, like, we definitely can and should talk about the role of women in French New Wave films. There was this woman, Anne Bilson, who wrote in a 2019 article in The Guardian that Godard, in his films with Karina, seems to have trouble conceiving that the female experience revolves around anything other than prostitution, duplicity, or wanting babies. Yeah. To be fair, that is how most film noirs are, but also, like, he's just still doing that. And, for example, the article points out that in Band Apart, during the dance scene, you hear the inner dialogue of the characters.
Exactly. This is exactly what I'm thinking.
And the guys are saying things about themselves and what they're worried about. And her inner dialogue is that she's just thinking about whether or not her boobs look good while she's dancing.
That's constantly the inner life that he depicts of women. Is like they're thinking about their own boobs. It's literally like they're just like sitting there like, I have boobs. There's this thing where like she's in this movie where she's talking about killing a man, and she's like, who says that women can't kill like a man? Like, just because I've got soft breasts? Like, it's like, this is her inner monologue, and she's shooting a person. And it's like, I don't think you understand women. I have to say.
I would agree with you. Like, Godard does not understand women.
I would love to mansplain women to Godard.
Maybe the one part of the movie where he gives her some inner... Okay, like, she doesn't have
She's great in the movie. She's
bored.
Cool.
Like, she's bored is her thing, and she wants more from life, and he's not giving her enough. And there is that whole Lean Deschamps song where she wants to talk about her fate line, like on her palm, or basically what she's worried is going to be a short lifespan, but all he wants to talk about is her thigh line.
Yeah, right. Body. He is only focusing on her sexuality and not taking on her concerns.
Which the film is clearly commenting on when it includes that.
Yeah, to be fair, this movie is not as bad as Band Apart, in my opinion, in this regard. It is basically your classic women are always just going to betray you kind of thing, I think, to some degree. But
definitely, yeah. It's doing the film noir thing.
But she is more interesting than the character she plays in some other things.
But there are 0 great depictions of women in any Godard film.
Oh, yeah. Which, is weird because he's quite concerned with women, I would say, as a filmmaker.
I mean,
he makes a lot of films about women.
This main actress is his wife.
Right.
Like, shouldn't he be, interested in her inner thoughts? And,
Well, they got divorced over the course of this film. So, right. What is the French New Wave? You talked about your relationship to it. What is this movement reacting to? What is Cahiers du Cinéma? If you could give anybody an example of a French New Wave movie,
it's this.
Would it be this one? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It would be this one.
This is why I wanted. I mean, we sat down and we're like, okay, which French New Wave should we do?
Which we want to talk about in the context of this podcast, which we're doing about New Hollywood.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is a thing that New Hollywood was reacting to / trying to replicate its own version of.
Right. So,
but yeah.
Pierrot le Fou is not the most famous of the French New Waves, but, for me, because it was the first French New Wave I'd seen, it plays a very big role in my life. I liked it way better than Breathless, which I then saw later. I think it's more exciting and more interesting. So I would say French New Wave is basically this thing that arose from a bunch of film critics getting together in the film journal Cahiers du Cinéma, and they're all critiquing the films that are going on around them, and then they decide hey, why don't we make our own films?
It's just classic wish fulfillment. It's just literally the ultimate thing of just you're a critic and people are why don't you fucking make a movie? And you're okay, I'll make the best movie ever. Yeah, right. So they just all do.
Yeah.
All of these dudes had the goods.
Yeah, and it's such a weird combination of they love American cinema, and so they try to do elements of that, but they're also throwing away the traditional thing. Mm-hmm. They're rejecting traditional. They're rejecting realism. But yeah, so all these French New Wave films were coming out. They were all very experimental, interesting. They're all based on this idea of the auteur. Mm-hmm.
Which was a Truffaut idea, right?
So yeah, Truffaut published an article in 1954 in Cahiers du Cinéma, and it was called A Certain Tendency of French Cinema. And this article basically became the manifesto of the auteur theory. Do you want to explain what auteur means?
Right. The auteur theory is basically that film is the medium where you're seeing the vision of the director as the ultimate artist. It's not about the idea of let's craft this correctly made film so much as let me display my own vision and personal psychology and a sort of insight into myself.
Yeah, I mean, auteur means
author. Yeah, it means the director is the one that matters. As opposed to, in other, maybe in theater, it's maybe more the writer.
The author, the director, the auteur, is making sure that as you're watching it, you, the audience, are oh, that is so this director. That's so Godard of him to be doing this. The director's style is forced upon you while you're watching it, so that as you're watching it, you're wow, this guy's so great. Wow, look at this style. Wow, it's so interesting. So it's really self-involved.
Yeah, I don't know, but for me, it's not I consciously watch things with thinking about the auteur theory, but I just do find it so much more enjoyable to give myself over to the vision of somebody rather than thinking, does this conform to my standards? If something seems weird to me, it invites a question and invites me in. There's this thing, the tradition of quality, which Godard was sort of anti, where as opposed to let's find the right way, we've developed these techniques of ways to make film. No, you should just experiment and fail, and there's no right answer. Mm-hmm. Just put the shit out there.
Yeah,
and that will make it alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
These essays that they wrote, the traditional quality essays, the tendency of French cinema, these essays that they wrote in Cahiers du Cinéma, these shaped the whole French New Wave. We should say not all of the people involved with Cahiers du Cinéma originally were on board with this. Besson, a really famous film critic, one of the founders of Cahiers du Cinéma, was all about realism. So there was a huge rift amongst the Cahiers du Cinéma people because Faison wanted to stick with the realism thing, and everybody else was going towards more of this like stylized auteur idea.
He was clearly drafting off of Italian neorealism, which was the dominant European art mode in film. You're a famous non-fan.
Italian neorealism is beautiful, but really boring in my opinion.
I love it.
I'm like, if I'm going to watch a Pasolini film, it's not going to be one of his neorealism ones. It's going to be one of his weird fucked up ones.
Yeah, I probably would too. I like them both. I feel that neorealism probably is a little bit more of a perennial thing as opposed to new wave thinking, which, to my mind, the more that we think about this and just think about this new Hollywood thing, I'm just very convinced that it's just like, you can't have the new wave happening all the time. Like, that would
reactionary.
Everything's reactionary, but I feel like we have enough new wave movies. I don't know how many more new wave movies need to be made. What would it be like if Netflix came out with like a movie like a Godard film? There was some filmmaker that they gave, and it was like genuinely experimental. Like, they're still using the Netflix house lighting style or whatever, but what they're doing is profoundly alienating and strange in a real way, not in a fake way where like they just have a character talking to the camera and they do some flashy shit. But like, I mean, something that's genuinely weird. Like, how could that
you say you don't want that because that's
I would love that, but
that sounds cool.
It's unfathomable to me. Like, it's so much more unfathomable that like a new wave style movement would happen now than even back then when things were so much more ostensibly staid in the culture and like boring, right? I think now we have the idea that like, we're always experimental work has permeated the mainstream and everything is experiment. You know what I mean? But it's like we have no true avant-garde.
I think one of the big problems is our technology just looks so polished now.
Yeah.
That I don't...
You think it's photography styles?
I think it's photography styles. Obviously, it's in editing too, but like Pauline Kael talks about how, like the unfinished look of these types of films and how important that is. And she says, in regards to the young filmmakers who are doing these types of films, they and many in their audiences may prefer the rough messiness, the uneven lighting, awkward editing, flat camera work, the undramatic succession of scenes, unexplained actions, and confusion about what, if anything, is going on, because it makes their movies seem so different from Hollywood movies. This inexpensive, inexperienced, untrained look serves as a kind of testimonial to sincerity, poverty, even purity of intentions.
We do still have that. That's mumblecore.
But mumblecore stuff still looks polished.
Kind of in a way, but in other ways it doesn't. Like, I feel like we do have that unpolished indie vibe. Like, people who don't want to care about where they put the camera and shit like that. We still got that.
I don't know. I think we have that in terms of they clearly don't try too hard with plot, which is, I'm not a big plot person, but mumblecore stuff.
They'll have quasi-improvisational dialogue, scenes that aren't overly dramatic.
It still seems shot well to me, though, all of those mumblecore movies.
I think that Pierrot le Fou seems shot better than those movies.
Like, Ferdinand's standing in a bush with grass in front of his face, and it doesn't even look cool and artistic. It's like...
But it does look cool and artistic.
No, it doesn't. It's like when I remember... one time tried to do a photo shoot with I made my boyfriend at the time take a photo of me with the flower that was in front of my face, and I thought it would look really pretty and stuff, and then I looked at the photo afterwards and I just had a fucking flower in front of my face. It didn't look
so
good.
This is just a case, you say, of just the first person who's literally just get in that bush and I will photograph you.
It didn't look good. I think he looked at it, he's like, well, that doesn't look that good, and he's like, I don't care. I think that in these mumblecore films, the shots always still have a coolness to them.
No, but not a coolness like a fucking Sean Baker shot or something like that, who's shooting on an iPhone. You know what I mean? Like they're not really... They have a less trained vibe to their shooting style than a serious filmmaker that I would admire their shooting style or cinematography.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just not watching enough mumblecore to
Yeah, you
pick
really
up on
hate
what you're
mumblecore.
saying. I don't like it, so I avoid it like the plague.
Yeah, I mean, it's shot, it's lit well. It looks Instagrammy, I guess, still in some ways. It has the glossiness, but I don't know. I think that what Kael is getting at there is not the overt experimentation.
I think that's part of it. I think part of the experimentation is making it look bad on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I know that with Breathless, for example, right? The jump cut stuff was basically just because
the movie was like too long. So he was just like, well, I'll just like cut out like parts of these long scenes. And then like he's like, oh, this actually adds to the vibe, like, you know.
So yeah, Breathless was his first movie.
Right. So that was not intentional.
Right.
Like he wasn't doing it, but then it came out and he was like, this works, you know.
Right.
It's not even that he's trying to make it look bad. He just doesn't know what he wants. And
I think he knows then, though, ever since Breathless, that, like, if it looks bad, that's good, too. Well, I wanted to quote again something from a Godard essay that he wrote in 1952 and published in Cahiers de Cinéma. And the reason I'm quoting it is because it gives an example of how dense Godard's writing is and how, like, you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? So this is only a partial quote. I'm leaving out, like, a parenthetical aside. He says, in the cinema, beauty is merely the avowal of personality. It offers no indications about an actress which are not in her performance. The cinema does not query the beauty of a woman. It only doubts her heart, records her perfidy, sees only her movements. Do not smile at such passion fired by logic. One can clearly see that what ensures its worth is that at each instant it is a question of loving or dying. I could read that sentence or that excerpt 10 times and maybe get some meaning from it, but am I even supposed to?
it's the kind of thing that I don't even think dumb people would feel is smart and going over their head.
You don't think? I'm sure there's plenty of people who would.
I don't know. I genuinely think that there's maybe, I don't know. Maybe I think there's probably like a sweet spot of like a level of smart person who would think it's deep. But I think that most dumb people would be like, this is bullshit. And most genuinely smart people would be like, this is bullshit. But there's like a point where it'd be like, yes, I need to unpack this more. I need to think more about that and stuff.
It's just so weird though, because like, I love this film.
I know.
Despite the fact that there's like...
Look, you love it more than me.
Yeah.
I think it's great. But yeah, tell me about you. You love this movie.
I have the problem, though, of each time I rewatch it, I love it a little less.
Really?
Yeah, which is really unfortunate because it just, I tell people this is my favorite movie. It used to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like it still deserves being called my favorite movie. But every time I watch it, I keep feeling like it's a little bit more gimmicky. And I gain a greater and greater appreciation as time goes by for stuff that has a lighter touch.
Yeah.
And isn't relying on these crazy techniques.
Yes.
But they're still very cool. And like, so yeah, I almost think that maybe I should never watch this movie ever again because I don't want to hate it. So this gets back to the Brechtian stuff, which we never really talk more about, but so we should just say what I mean by that is like Bertolt Brecht, famous person in theater. You can probably speak more about this than I can.
Basically he just wants you to be very aware of the fact that you're watching a contrived work of art, and he doesn't want to just bake his ideological and political ideas into the works, but he wants to overtly talk to you about them and be didactic and still make that be dramatic and not have you feel subsumed and taken over by the story, but still feel very much outside it as a person considering what the work is about.
To keep you from getting so caught up in it that you don't think critically about what you're seeing, think critically about what the actor is doing.
And the political implications of what they,
in order to prevent you from getting caught up in it,
they use
intentionally doing strange things to remind you like, oh, this is not real. So some examples is the music coming in and out, this like really harsh music just stopping and then starting, or they famously break the fourth wall.
They break the fourth wall.
Like stare directly into the camera.
They reference the audience. He references the audience. She stares at the camera. This is an interesting thing. He doesn't look at the camera.
He looks back at the camera.
He does?
In the car.
He does?
And she's like, who are you talking to?
Oh, sorry.
But
I thought that he wasn't looking at the
camera. But he's like glancing back. He doesn't stare.
She has a relationship to the camera.
She does. There's like
it's like a secret relationship.
Yeah, there's this part where he asks her something like, will you never leave me? And she says like, of course. And then she looks at the camera.
Right.
And that's the moment, I think, when you're supposed to be like, oh, she's lying. Because she like looks at the camera and you're like, oh, I'm looking in her eyes and I don't trust that.
Or like them breaking into song.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, them like, being in a musical.
Oh, it's a musical.
Right.
Right.
Or just things like you said, like there's a dead body and they're not really referencing it, or a woman's topless and it seems normal.
But they also like reference movies so many times in this film.
Yeah.
Like even from the opening scene, we hear that Ferdinand sent the maid to the movies.
Yeah.
So like they already talk about the movies.
To see Johnny Guitar.
Yeah, which he said is good for her education. Also, they're like random people they encounter, and then the film is suddenly interviewing those people. One of the guys, when asked about his occupation, says that he's an extra in a film. So you're like, oh, you mean like this film? Like
That's
you
true.
are actively an extra right at this very moment.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
You're saying that you're being an extra. And like when they're faking the car accident, Marianne says, we have to make it look real. It isn't a movie.
Yeah.
And then there's another part.
But while there's another faked accident right in front of them that looks incredibly fake.
Like the fakest shit you've ever seen.
Exactly.
Like
It looks absurdly
doll.
fake.
Like
Right,
I was really confused the first time I watched the movie. I didn't realize that was actually supposed to be a real car accident. It just looked so crazily fake.
Right.
Okay, and then like the other movie reference that I want to bring up is Marianne, when she wants to get them to leave their beach life, she said, we've played Jules Verne's long enough, let's go back to our gangster movie.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing at this. So yeah, what are you supposed to take seriously? Because they're like kids just playing a game.
Right. What is the essence of her character? Because it's like, so when they talk about like what do you care about, right? And she's like, I care about flowers and animals and the air. I care about life, right? And she's like, what do you care about? And he's like, I care about like ambition and like words and ideas and everything. Like, so
Godard says that one of the main themes is nature.
It is.
But I don't know. Like there is
nature like the parrot on your shoulder.
There is nature in the movie, but they're like, and they are sometimes living off the land, but they're not really having a relationship, in my opinion, with nature at all.
Right. It's like Badlands, like it's sort of the idea of like, if you reject society, you're going to have to contend with Nate. That means like, I guess you're going to go live in the woods.
Okay. But
like kind of, I guess, like it's,
Malik
if you're going to
can do
what Malik
nature
does seem to genuinely care about nature a little bit more than Godard does actually.
There is water, right. I mean, there is the end of Pierrot le Fou where after he wraps his head in dynamite and blows himself up, the camera pans over to the ocean and it talks about eternity in the ocean and stuff. So I guess he was trying to make it about nature, but I don't know, like her saying that she likes that nature stuff, I agree with you. She doesn't. She just likes to just live life. I think she likes to be excited. I think she's bored a lot.
There's this theme too, right, about this movie of blowing up your life the second that things start going okay.
They
right?
both of them get rid of their money on two different occasions.
They're constantly like, anytime something's going well or they're feeling good, they'll fuck it up.
They'll crash their car into the water.
Right.
They'll burn everything. I was thinking this time around that even though she seems like the one who's really about life, like she has a motive the entire time. She's got a plot. She's wants to find Fred. Like she has this underlying thing of, I'm doing all of this because I'm trying to like use Ferdinand for this scheme that I have. Ferdinand, he's just fucking doing whatever.
It seems like he's
having a midlife crisis.
He's having a midlife crisis, but it's like he seems to become they get kind of bored with each other, right? Like she gets bored with him, but he's also just kind of like, I'm kind of more in my writing right now. He seems to be like, I'm discovering, like, I finally have the time for these intellectual pursuits that, like, I've been denied by my stupid bourgeois life and wife and consumerism and family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like now I can think about the world of ideas for real.
Right.
Yeah,
in the beginning when he was, like, reading the book in the bathtub, he's forced to go to the party. But on the beach, he could theoretically do it all day if he didn't have this nagging girlfriend mistress.
Yeah.
Trying to get him to go dancing with him.
Yeah. Right, that's the thing. He wants to hang out. He wants us hanging out in nature, and write.
Yeah. She doesn't like nature at all.
She doesn't like nature at all, but she claims to. But he represents this kind of more cosmopolitan, distanced thing. Like the movie does seem to be commenting that he is like missing out on something in life with his concern with words. Right.
Getting back to that, like you speak to me with words.
Yeah.
I look at you with feelings. Like, he's saying these words, but he's not getting to experience what they mean.
Do you think Godard feels that way? Like, he's like, I'm just babbling. Somebody save me from myself, please. I don't know what I'm just trying to connect to you.
That gets back at my original question. Like, is he trying to achieve emotion in this movie or not? I don't know. Like, I don't know if he knows.
I don't know that this movie is less emotional than his other works. I think this movie might be his most emotional work.
I think his stuff's not emotional, though, in general.
Right. No, absolutely not.
It's hard to... Like, yeah, maybe if you compare it to his other stuff. Is Jean-Paul Belmondo sexy?
Yeah.
I don't know. There is something about him.
French sexiness is kind of funny.
Here's some quotes, like this guy... Tarantino calls Belmondo a verb that represents vitality, charisma, a force of will. It represents super coolness. This idea of like him being so like this vitality and manliness, like I don't really see it because there are these scenes of him fighting and he just seems so incredibly ineffectual when he's boxing. And it's weird because when I read about him, Belmondo was an amateur boxer.
Maybe you just don't understand boxing technique.
Maybe, but it's not
supposed to look cool. It's just supposed to beat it.
No. It's not about looking cool. It's like, okay, as somebody who has studied martial arts, it just seems so silly the way he's got his hands up and moving them around and kind of has these like weak ass punches. Like his punches seem so fucking weak.
But this is certainly the Belmondo film that you've seen the most, probably.
I feel like I've seen some other film where he's like running and like him running.
I remember you described him running one time. It was so funny. You're right. Like he's got a weird physicality.
It's just like kind of very feminine, which is fine. I do think he's got a sexiness, but I don't think it's a manliness.
Right. Is James Dean manly?
You know? Yes.
But he's more effeminate in a lot of ways.
He's effeminate, but he's got like this manly thing going on too that I don't really see in
Belmondo has that gruffness though into his face.
He does.
Like he looks like a man.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. It's more just some of the things he does this thing a lot in this movie where he's just climbing up stuff and then jumping off of it and falling. And that's a very boy thing to do. Like the boys in gym class trying to impress the girls by doing some stupid feat and then totally failing at it and looking like an idiot, but they think that they still look cool anyway.
But this is what I'm getting at. Like, he's supposed to be kind of a putz in this.
Pierrot le Fou, which she keeps calling him Pierrot.
Right.
And he's like, my name's Ferdinand. And it's like...
She's casting him in the role of Patsy.
Yeah. I mean, it means crazy Pete, but it like roughly translates to like sad clown.
Yeah, it foreshadows his fate of the cuckold sad clown kind of figure. Like it's a Commedia dell'arte character.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Anyways, sorry.
No, what's that?
Oh, no, it's Commedia dell'arte is this super nerdy thing, even by the state. Like, if you're like a theater nerd and you find out that some other theater nerd is into Commedia dell'arte, you make fun of them for being a nerd. It's like just this. It's basically like where all classic like sitcom tropes come from, like the idea of like the Harlequin and stuff like that.
Okay, I just want to talk for a quick second about Anna Karenina. That's not her real name.
It is an awful lot like Anna Karenina.
It is by design.
Yeah.
Coco Chanel helped her come up with the name to evoke this like tragic and beautiful character. They did not put a lot of effort in making it that different from Anna Karenina. It's like the same.
Is that how you pronounce it? Anna Karenina?
How do you pronounce it?
Anna Karenina.
I pronounce it Nabokov, and that's not right. So I never pronounce Russian things correctly.
Russian things. We have been told a bunch of weird pronunciations for Russian things because of the Cold War, apparently.
Really?
Yeah. Like this is something that I was told by a Russian person. They're like tons of stuff. Like the name Boris, for example, is pronounced Boris in Russia, and they just wanted it to sound more like creepy and stuff in American and stuff so anyways, she was a model at first. Godard saw her in this commercial where she was in the bathtub and he wanted her to be in Breathless, actually. Yeah. But she was like, no, because there was a nude scene, and he was like, but you were nude in the bathtub. She's like, I had a swimsuit on, you just couldn't see it and you assumed I was naked and you put that on me. But she didn't want to be naked in the movie, so she wasn't in Breathless. She should have been. I mean, I like Gene Seberg, but
Anna Karenina
I feel like
is fucking gorgeous.
I feel like that's kind of a miss that she's not in Breathless. You know what I mean? It's like she kind of like should have had that extra. It would be different. That extra thing. It would be different. She's in 8 Godard films. Yeah. She tried to direct, and nobody took her seriously because she was a woman. So like producers told her that they would only fund the film if she got a man to direct it, which is such fucking bullshit, because this is a time when they're like giving all these dudes chances to make whatever the fuck they want. Like
peak experiment, peak do whatever you want. And this is Anna Karina, like, she was married to Godard.
Icon.
She was icon. She was in all of these amazing French New Wave films, and you're not going to give her a chance to direct? Like,
even if she, like, I could see a producer maybe making some argument that's like, look, will you be in the movie? Do you know what I mean? Like that's like something like, I need you in the movie.
Right.
As well, if you're, if I'm going to sell this or something like that. But nobody,
It's crazy. So she made this film, like, she finally made it, even though she had such a hard time, like, getting it made. And it's called Living Together. She made it in 1973. She made it on a super small budget and contributed some of her own money to make it. And you can't even find it on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe it's, like, a weird thing where I'm, like, not putting in, like,
translation, right?
Yeah, but, like, and then she made another film in 2008, so much later, called Victoria, which is a musical. I also couldn't find it anywhere on Rotten Tomatoes. I could only find one review about it anywhere, aside from, like, things on Letterboxd, but, like, one written up review. And they misspell her name in the first sentence. Like, they couldn't even be bothered to spell her name correctly in this one review I could find. This is so shitty. We should have given her more of a chance.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking sexism.
Quite.
Yeah. But so she also worked as a singer. She made some songs in the 60s. She also wrote some novels. Married Godard.
The thing about Karina in general is she's got this quality that does add to her coolness, but I think also probably detracts from her as an actor and maybe just as anything, which is she does really not seem like she's taking anything that seriously.
She's mostly worked with Godard for acting, and he didn't even give her the dialogue till the day of.
It's fine.
She's being encouraged to not try at being a good actress.
Yeah.
He's just trying to capture her.
I'm trying to think of how many non-Godard films I've seen her in.
Yeah, she's in Cleo from 5 to 7. Can we talk about the colors in this movie?
A lot of blue, a lot of red, a lot of white.
Which are the colors of the French flag.
Yeah, right.
And the American flag.
Yes.
Hey.
Wait a second.
And also, blue is boy.
And red means girl.
And red is girl and violence.
Yeah, right. Satan.
I genuinely think I wrote an essay about this in a film class I took in college about how the colors of the characters were commenting on their gender roles. For the most part, there's some like crossover, but for the most part throughout the whole film, he's wearing like blue tones.
Yeah.
And she's wearing red tones.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like this like violent influence on him. And then at the end, they kind of swap colors a little bit. And he paints his face blue as kind of like a last-ditch effort. Like, can I get myself back?
And he covers it with the red dynamite.
But then he covers it with red dynamite and blows himself up.
Yeah.
So I think
has a last-minute moment of regret? How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
It's just a joke?
I don't know. It is, like him like being like, oh shit, and trying to like put the fuse out. I think it adds to the ineffectualness of that character, of being like just like a fool. I think it's fine. I love the ending of him.
Yeah, the ending is all time. Yeah, for sure.
Just like such an iconic look of somebody wrapping their head in dynamite and blowing themselves up and painting their face blue first. I, for Halloween one time, tried to dress up in that final scene.
That would be so cool.
It wasn't good though, because painting your face blue.
It's a lot like painting your face black.
Yeah. I was like, I immediately have to wash this off. So then I tried to just do the dynamite, but it was really hard to make because I tried to make it 20 minutes before the party started. But anyways, I tried to do that super iconic look.
Yeah.
And failed. So I love the colors in this. I so much prefer these flashy, vibrant colors to like black and white Breathless.
The opening, though, you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Like, him reading in the bathtub, you're like, yeah, this is pretentious or whatever, and stuff like that, but it's like just a second of it. And then they go to the party, and the party's just so cool.
And
like the boobs, there's boobs, and like there's like the different colors, and you're just like, why can't more movies do this thing where you just like, it's a different color when you go to a different room. Or something. You know, it's like...
when we say that, we don't mean... If you haven't seen the movie, we don't mean that, like, the walls are painted different color. It's like there's, like, a film...
It's a filter or lighting thing going on.
Yeah.
And it is a boring party scene that is made a billion times more interesting. So easily.
Yeah. No,
it's great.
It's cool.
And you're just like so in. The movie gets right down to it. Like the movie starts so quickly and then nothing happens. Like you expect it to be this breakneck pace where they're going to be doing a bunch of stuff, and it kind of is that. Like they do go from thing to thing.
Well, okay, this is like the thing. They're giving you action technically, but they're
it's
not
not
giving
a boring movie.
But I think it can be, but maybe it's just because I've seen it so many times that each time I watch it again, I'm like, all right, I know
it's kind of not an interesting movie in some ways.
Yeah.
Like there's moments that pop up and you're like, yes, this is very, and it holds your interest.
I think you could say this about any film that has like such an archness about what you're watching.
Yeah.
Because they're just doing stuff that's meaningless.
But meaningful though. It's meaningless as a whole, but there's so much meaning that they pack into a moment. Or so you think. I think
even in any given moment, they're trying to pack in all this like commentary and poetic words and all that, but it's like you, even in the moment, you're like, this doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, like, I mean, his commentaries on like Vietnam and stuff like that. I mean, it's literally just like a South Park caricature of like, so you gotta understand, like, the Vietnam War, man, is, like, America is, or like, I mean, it's like literally just like the most like ham-fisted, like, non-commentary about just somebody who's reading the newspaper and it's like, can you believe it?
Yeah. It is having some political commentary. She says something about like, there are X number of guerrilla fighters. Like, oh, you just think of them in numbers. And then she just says some other pretentious shit and then immediately moves on.
Yeah, I know, right. And there's all of these, there's these metaphors that they're drawing in comparison to guerrilla warfare and war and love.
But you can tell that this is the kind of film where he just throwing shit at the wall.
The
and
60s,
it's like,
man.
If I just put things next to each other, they'll speak about each other. But like, he did not formulate a coherent thing. I'm not saying that he needed to.
No.
I'm fine with it being the way it is. But there is a totally lack of meaning.
If you are the kind of person, which I consider myself to be, if I'm finding a movie boring or weird, my brain tends to be able to use that in a way that's like, okay, but what does this mean? Why are they giving me this?
Yeah.
And generate some kind of maybe cockamamie theory about what the filmmaker's going for. Godard is just so resistant to it, and this movie is exemplary of that. It's so difficult for you to keep a thought from moment to moment.
I think that you're supposed to be, as you're watching, just enjoying the style of it. You're not supposed to be left with thoughts.
If you're trying to extrapolate meaning, you're missing it, just like he is.
Yeah, just
he
like
doesn't
him.
get the
Just
feelings that
just
she
like
gets.
Ferdinand.
Right.
Yeah. I do have a quote from Godard about Pierrot le Fou.
Yeah.
He said, I find it difficult to talk about the film. I can't say I didn't work it out, but I didn't pre-think it. Everything happened at once. It is a film in which there was no writing, editing, or mixing. One day, Bonfanti, who was doing the music, knew nothing of the film, and he mixed the soundtrack without preparation. He reacted with his knobs like a pilot faced by air pockets. This was very much in key with the spirit of the film. So the construction came at the same time as the detail. And another quote, which I won't read, but he says what he's going for is he's trying to show life.
Yeah.
And life is just a bunch of random shit that's happening.
Right. In this movie, it's almost so random that it doesn't feel random. Like, you feel like you're like, well, what does it mean? But it doesn't mean anything.
But, like, this is one of my favorite films. He's a true artist. It's like that thing where you can't pinpoint how he achieves that artistic effect where others fail so hard. You don't love this movie as much as me, but you like it, at least.
I love it.
You do love it.
I do love it. Is this the Godard movie that I would show people? I might go with Weekend. No, but this one is probably the better one to.
I mean, this is my go-to.
For Godard.
It's just so flashy.
Yeah.
And just like, I think it's just so like it just communicates what Godard is about.
I love this movie. I'm not a Godard person as much as you.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm becoming less of one.
I'm not a Truffaut person either, and you're definitely not a Truffaut person.
Oh, I don't. I hate 400 Blows. I like Jules at Jim.
Yeah.
I hate 400 Blows.
Both love Romer.
Romer's great.
Yeah, love that Romer.
Love Romer. One thing I was going to say is like, just thinking about like the characters' thoughts in Pierrot le Fou versus characters' thoughts in like a Romer movie. Like in Pierrot, they're like poetic, but they're pretentious. And it doesn't really have an impact on the lives that they're living, except that it just like induces this like ennui.
Yes.
Whereas like Romer movies, the dialogue is also kind of poetic and assholey, but it seems like so much more truthful. Like the characters are talking about like I think it was like maybe Love in the Afternoon, where the character says he like he lost his sense of taste in judging women's attractiveness and can no longer tell whether a woman, or like he would classify as hot or not, but now considers all women hot because they're not his wife. Like that's like an assholey shitty thing to say, but it's like very much also like a true thing to say.
True and interesting, and it's advancing the thing forward.
Right. And like that's, I don't know, like there's just, they're both very unique styles of dialogue, but in Pierrot,
the kinds of
it's
things
like
that
meaningless.
Critics would write. Like the kinds of writing that people who write long essays about ideas
right, yeah,
and put in a thing, right? I mean, like, I guess, like, I love Godard because again he is like just the weirdest of the weird. Like, he takes shit out about as far as it can go, and you got to have that. And it's a fascinating career. Like, the idea of quantity over quality, I guess, is often an approach that I think has a lot of merit. I think it's an interesting way to do it. And if you're somebody like this, like, you would think Godard could be one of these weird artists who's like, I make one movie every 10 years.
Right.
But no, he's like, no, I just shit this stuff out. Like, it's literally, he's like, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? But like, and so that's cool. That's great. I would recommend this movie to anyone.
Reading that Pauline Kael essay about like the movie Brutalists, she's shitting on them, like talking about them being pretentious, and she says something, she's talking about the wannabe filmmakers a lot, and says, kids who can't write or who have never developed any competence in photography, who have never acted in nor directed a play, see no deterrent to making movies. And although most of the results are bad beyond our wildest fears, as if to destroy all our powers of prediction, a few, even of the most ignorant, pretentious young men and women, are doing some interesting things.
Yeah.
So it's just this aspect where, like, sometimes
incredibly
this
prophetic quote, by the way.
really works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Like, right. Like it's, I mean, I think that, like, what she's getting at is, like, there's an inherent rebellion against craft that always comes that is kind of stupid, but it's also true. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she's like, it's coming from a place that's essentially, I don't like you because you're old or whatever, like, and stuff like that. But that, like, that is maybe ultimately one of the ways to get to the new. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, like reactionary stuff, like you can see right through, like, oh, you're clearly doing this just because you're trying to do the opposite of the thing before it or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, at least it's something new, and at least it's like pushing things forward and developing.
Yeah, and I think that it's like, again, it's just it's such an empowering thing, the Cahiers de Cinema crowd, like the whole notion of like film just is this medium that people can do. Not everybody can be a stand-up comedian. Not everybody can be a painter. Not everybody can write a musical. Seems like a lot of people can write a novel. A lot of people can make a movie.
You think a lot of people can write a novel?
I think a lot of people got a book in them.
But all the famous people that you know who have books that got ghostwriters. I feel like that's definitely influenced our opinion about the average person's ability to write a book.
Okay, maybe I think movies, yes, right. Okay, so maybe novels are harder because they are truly, you are the one person doing it, and like you have no help and stuff. And movies require you to get other people to do it with you. Yeah. You're not fulfilling every aspect.
It's weird because these are auteur films, so it's kind of based on the idea that it is just one person who's driving it forward.
Right. Yeah, I think there's some things to criticize in the auteur theory in regards to that. I think that there's a lot of auteur directors who become way too unconcerned with actors and acting, for my taste.
You're an actor, so you're a little biased, but...
Yeah, but
no, fair
most of my favorite auteur directors are actors. I like Bergman and Paul Thomas Anderson.
I mean, Pierrot le Fou has Anna Karina and Belmondo, so...
Yeah, is Godard interested in actors?
No, I don't think so, but... Yeah. He's interested in, like, coolness.
He's certainly somebody who appreciates a good screen presence.
One more Pauline Kael quote.
All right.
She says, total satire is opportunistic and easy. What's difficult is to make a movie about something without making a fool of yourself. Do you think Godard succeeded in making a movie about something?
Yes.
Is this about something?
I think it's basically like capitalism and consumerism takes over everything, right? You're never going to get outside of this dream of wanting something. You might think that you're rejecting all of these things about society by going off and being with this woman, but you're still going to be trapped by your insecurities and your jealousy and your feeling like you're
wanting to own them and control them and stuff like that. Like, I think it's getting at something about that. Personally.
Okay. I mean, I see all of that.
You're like, okay.
No. Like,
sure,
yes,
yeah.
no, totally.
No, but
like the plot is
right,
about that.
No.
That is the plot.
Yeah.
I think that is the meaning of the plot.
Yeah.
I just think there's like so much other shit in that movie that I guess I kind of feel like he succeeds a little bit in getting it, trying to make the movie about the space between things, like that quote that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it about everything. And so getting back to like...
Don't you think products and consumerism play a pretty central part?
I mean,
and
it's
like
definitely
capitalism
like
and stuff?
he has characters just saying advertisements.
There's a lot of like products displayed and like ads displayed and like
definitely
acquisition.
But do I think that it plays enough of a role that it becomes what the movie's about? No, I don't think so. I think there's so much other stuff in that movie that it's like it kind of is just about everything. So it makes it kind of about nothing.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree that I'm reaching a little bit. Like, that's me trying to say what I think the theme is. And
yeah, I think there's lots of themes.
That you're right, that the movie resists any kind of categorization.
Yeah, like I think because the movie's not really about any given thing, in my mind, that's actually like a compliment to it because that's what Godard was going for. But it is.
Don't you think that her betrayal of him is pretty central to the movie in some ways? Like, it's about that.
That's because it's like a film noir type thing. So it's like you write that off as that's the container.
But it's the story of a guy who was a chump for a woman.
But that's what I'm saying. That's a film noir thing. So as I'm watching, I'm like, okay, oh yeah, I know where this is going.
Mm-hmm. You think that's just a superficial strike? You don't think that's actually something that means anything to Godard? Because I think it does. I think that women being cheaters and lying to you is a thing that he feels on some level.
I think he has low opinions about women, so yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to be reducing it, I do think you're right that his mission statement is like, yeah, I'm gonna make a movie that's not about. It's not a movie.
Yeah,
it's not about anything.
Which I guess is about something.
Yes. In the world, everything. And I guess that's a fine note to end on.
Sure.
You got anything else to say?
No.
This is an episode, though, that I think is always going... Like, this is always going to be a weird episode. Like, imagine listening to this if you haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, I can't tell.
Would this be as incomprehensible as watching the movie?
We say sentences that
We're
are
more
accessible than...
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
Hopefully.
Well, that's good. Let's pat ourselves on the back for that.
Good job, us. Next, I'll do some left bank.
Fuck yeah, little Varda.
Yeah. There's a whole other side of the French New Wave.
The non-Cahiers du Cinéma.
Yeah.
The wing. It's called the left bank.
We have to do it because... Otherwise, we'd be passing up on one of our very few opportunities to talk about a female director. So,
let's not talk about her. Let's do Jacques Demy anyways instead. Kidding. I love Agnes Varda.
Talk at you next time.
All right, that's our show. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Check us out on social media. Thank you to The Illuminator for our artwork. And remember, guys, we're a new podcast, so if you could leave a comment or just a like, that would really help us out. Thank you. Bye.